For the time that is ours tonight, I want to speak to you from the Gospel of Luke, the 5th chapter. The story begins with Jesus commandeering Simon's fishing boat to serve as a makeshift pulpit while he ministers to the crowd on the shore. I want to insert a disclaimer here. My expertise in fishing is non-existent. I know what types of fish I like to eat. I know the many ways I prefer fish to be prepared, and in my youth, I even enjoyed helping my father scale and clean fish when his friends would occasionally bring some to our home after their fishing trips. But beyond that, I am not the one you want to invite on a fishing expedition. As a consequence of my ignorance in this subject, I struggled with the fishing analogy in this text, especially as it pertains to the notion of fishing for people. All of my knowledge of fishing involves worms and hooks and hours of waiting in hopes that a hungry fish might bite. In case it's not obvious, let me acknowledge I am definitely not a bacon hook kind of girl. Consequently, this text did not really come alive in my life until I found myself sitting on the coastline in Ghana, West Africa, watching a group of 8 young men return from fishing. They didn't have rods and reels. They had a huge, unwieldy net. These 8 men worked in a coordinated fashion to spread this net out on the sand. The synchronization of their work drew me in, and I watched as they shared directions among themselves. Once the net was completely untangled and laying flat on the shore, each one of them had an area that they methodically checked for tears in the netting. They cleared extraneous plastic and debris trapped in the net from their last haul and carefully mended areas that were torn. It was in that moment that I realized that when you fish with a net, you just get what you get. You don't get to decide what kind of fish or how big are the fish or what color are the fish. You don't even get to decide if it's a fish. It may be a crab or it may be a squid or it may be something you weren't expecting. Net fishing is not something you can guess about. The nets in this text are like the ones I saw in Africa. Not the rods or reels of my imagination. Jesus was talking about net fishing. Fishing that requires risk. Fishing with no guarantees. Fishing that means we have to accept those who come and allow Jesus to do the cleaning. Fishing that means you don't get just to have the bass. You don't just get to have the snapper. I'm from the South, and my dad raised me on snapper and bass. He wouldn't eat catfish. He said they were bottom feeders. But when you're net fishing for Jesus, even the catfish count.